This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
How do you guys not remember what I say every time we do the show?
Hey, everybody.
What did you say? Because you just
hey,
didn't
everybody.
say it.
Yeah, no, I'm more disappointed. I'm with you guys in Discord. Thank you guys for calling out as well. I hit them up directly, but yeah. Hey, everybody.
It was a long day. I just got
everybody.
back from vacation. Sue me.
Okay.
But anyways, we are live right now on twitch.tv/MostValuable Podcast. We gave shout outs to everybody who's currently in the chat because today is a glorious day. Anthony Davis is now a Laker. We're finally done with the rumors. We're finally done with the reports. We're done with all of the drama. AD can now just go to Los Angeles and play basketball. We'll get into the full details of the trade and how it affects all the teams coming up. And then after that, we also have our mock draft 7.0 that Ricky and Dave are diligently fixing because the AD trade happened about an hour ago, or a little over an hour ago. So we're still trying to fix out all our mocks. It's a full 2-round mock with trades. So we're super excited to bring all of that to you guys. Whether you're on, live watching us on Twitch right now, you're listening to this on Blog Talk Radio, whether you're watching on YouTube, we want to give a shout out to you. Thank you guys for stopping by. We appreciate it. But boys, let's jump into it. Anthony Davis is now a Laker. And the trade is Anthony Davis goes to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Pelicans get Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, the 4th pick in the 2019 NBA draft, and 2 future firsts. No announcement has been made yet. Obviously, if you're in the Twitch chat, drop it. If it has been, if we missed it, but drop it if any of the details about the first-round picks have come out.
Okay.
We definitely appreciate that. Whether it's going to be 2021, whether it be 2021, 2023, I mean, the protections, definitely going to be intrigued to see what that is.
The only thing I saw was that AD is going to sign an extension once he can.
I
I
heard the
other
opposite.
way.
No,
I heard-
right when I walked up to the studio, they sent out that he is expected to sign an extension with the Lakers once he can
Who
after
said that?
July 1st. Woj, ESPN.
I didn't see that at all, and I was just on
Check
Woj's
in.
page.
I'm refreshing Woj.
Because Chris Haynes said that he was going to become a free agent and then probably
and then
become a free.
and then sign with the Lakers though, long term.
But he's not going to be a free agent after July 1st.
He's going to be a free agent next year.
He's going to be a free agent next year.
Then it's whatever extension. Like basically,
Well, Jake
he's
said-
gonna be in LA long term. Is the point of it?
Yeah,
is what I saw.
Nothing from Woj said that. He said the trade, then Monster Haul for David Griffin and Pelicans, they maximized the AD trade without needing a third team. History of Griffin deals typically include strong pick protections, which should make the trade even better. And now LeBron gets his second star in LA. Here we go. Teams already expressing significant interest in the number 4 pick belonging to the Pelicans.
An ESPN update 44 minutes ago. Anthony Davis will sign new contract with Lakers once he becomes eligible for free agency in 2020.
Yeah, so once he becomes
next year.
eligible.
Yeah,
So not
but
right
he's
away.
going to be in LA long term. Is basically
That's
the
the
point.
expectation.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
he Dwight Howard's this shit, which would be hilarious.
No
Unlikely.
word exactly. We got KD's Achilles saying apparently 3 firsts with 4 pick swaps. Didn't see that, but we'll figure it out. But let's jump into the trade again. That was the trade details. Zoe, Ingram, Hart, 4th pick, and 2 future firsts going to the Pelicans, and the Lakers get AD. Let's talk about the team getting the biggest superstar in this trade, and that is the Pelicans with Lonzo Ball. Kidding. Let's go to the Lakers with Anthony Davis. I want to read a tweet first before we get into this, and I want to know if this is true in your guys' mind. This is from the Stein line. He said, LeBron James missed the playoff for the first time in 14 years. 2 days after the season ends, LeBron finds out he will be partnered by the best teammate he's ever had, and really, the ideal sidekick. So is this the best teammate that he's ever had? Is he better than D. Wade? Is he better than Bosh? Is AD the best teammate that LeBron's ever had?
No, D Wade's the best teammate that LeBron ever had because basically D Wade let LeBron come into D Wade's home and make it his own. It was like D Wade was king of the castle in Miami. Let LeBron come in, be king, treat it like his home, and was like, hey, dude, it's okay. As long as we win in chips, it's fine.
But talent-wise, you can't argue that like D Wade at the end of his prime, like the very edge of his prime, was a better player than Anthony Davis is right now with all his 50-20 games. Like that's my thought. It's just I respect D Wade. He was awesome. Kyrie Irving was younger, very good, but I don't think he was better than Anthony Davis is right now.
Well,
so
and the thing that will answer that question, like we don't know the true answer to that question until we see how this plays out. Because I think if the Lakers don't win a ring, then AD can't be a better teammate than Kyrie or D Wade, because both of those teammates got LeBron a ring.
But they also had a better version of LeBron. This is arguably a worse version of LeBron compared to the versions that KD or that Kyrie and that Wade had. And also, someone brought up the fact that AD's never played 82 games, but neither is Dwayne Wade. So D Wade was never playing 82 games. I would say that the versions that they're going to be is probably going to be what's important. What is AD going to be on? What is he going to be next to LeBron? I think that's the biggest thing, is that clearly I think it's going to help him the most because those two in a pick and roll is going to be absolutely nasty. And I think that they're going to play off each other so well. I just wonder how AD is going to do with less shots and not being the guy, and that's the biggest thing that I'm going to have to see. Because talent-wise, it's so tough to compare because one's a big and one's a guard. But I just wanted to throw that out there. But let's talk about the actual move. How does it affect the Lakers' timeline? How does it affect the team? And how are LeBron, AD going to... I'm so used to saying Katie. How are LeBron and AD going to pair up next to each other?
I will say this. The first thought in my head that you got to throw, whether you like him, you don't like him, you got to give props to Pelinka because he got it done. What Magic said he was going to do and what Magic didn't do was bring in guys for LeBron, trade for guys for LeBron. Pelinka got it done. Like he was able to, we all thought, and we did the PTP, Sean, and we were saying that even I was like a 25% chance he gets traded on or before draft night. I thought that the Pelicans were going to wait until after July 1st to entertain the Celtics. Like, hey, if we can get Jason Tatum out of the Celtics, let's see if we can get that, because to me, that was the true prize out of anything the Lakers could have offered. So that was the first thing in my mind is you got to give props to Pelinka for actually getting the deal done.
Yeah, no, it's credit to him because, well, I mean, how much do you want to give him credit versus how much do you want to give Rich Paul credit? In my head, that's the argument because
Rich Paul started it.
Rich Paul paved this thing. He wrote this thing up. He engineered it. He dropped the news bits. He talked to the media. He talked to front office. He talked to agent. Like, he did everything. He's the mastermind behind all of this. That's why I'm like, I want to give him credit, but at the same time,
I mean,
like...
Pelinka had to decide what they're giving up, though.
All he had to do was finish. David Griffin already had a connection with LeBron and Rich Paul. I'm not... Yeah.
And here's the thing, too. I don't know if I can give Rob Pelinka too much credit. He did get the deal done. He was a part of it. But then again, I mean, we all kind of knew the idea that had to happen. We knew that they had to get two young stars, which they did in Lonzo, or at least two young potential stars in Lonzo and Brandon Ingram. They got an extra piece, and Hart and Kuzma, I think, can kind of be seen as the same bits in ways. You know, Kyle Kuzma is a guy that obviously can put up near 20 points per game and is more of a wing, but Josh Hart as guard provides, you know, an all-around game that is I think comparable to Kyle Kuzma.
And plus
they're not
the
all-stars, but they are very good players.
The Pelicans, in my mind, why would I want Kuzma when I'm taking Zion number one?
Well,
like, that to me is like they might be a little bit too similar with the little like.
What? Yeah, I disagree.
Yeah, I think similarly. Like I think the Pelicans go out there and get, because AD is gone. If whether Randall comes back, I think you get a 5 and roll Zion at the 4. And where would you roll Kuz at the 4?
No, off the bench.
No, yeah, as I say, like Kuzma is just a wing shooter. He's a great spacer. Like I think I don't see the overlap there. I don't know if I would even call, like you were talking about how Hart is, you know, a good player. I'm like, he's more of a role player. I know last year he was hurt, so his numbers really dropped off later in the season.
Hart can be though what
you hope that he's a two-way guard off the bench for you. He can defend pretty well. It's just that shot from 3 really dropped off the face of the earth. The expectations out the gates though were really high for him. So I still think value-wise, you're getting he's a more valuable player to me in Hart at this point, because I think Kuz is just, no offense, he's a spacer, but he's also a chucker at times.
I think Hart is a much better three-point shooter than what he showed last year. I think we all know that. We can look back at college. No, I think he is. I don't think we're hoping. We saw what he was in college, and I think that he showed that he was a much better three-point shooter than that. And I think injuries had to deal with that, and also the change of just going to a new team pretty much with LeBron. I mean, not going to a new team technically because he still was a Laker, but going and having to deal with this whole changes, and obviously that whole team didn't deal well with the changes, but clearly this was the right move for the Lakers. I just didn't think they were going to be able to get it done. I just didn't think that the Pelicans wanted to deal with them, but David Griffin coming in was the right move for the Pelicans. Gail Benson knew what to do. She knew that Dell Demps needed to be moved, and you know, she brought in a very smart hire in David Griffin. I thought the move was great when she hired it, and now I think, you know, making this move fully sealed that David Griffin was the right choice for the Pelicans to lead them into this new future. And I'm excited for the Pelicans fans, and I'm also excited for the Lakers. They were the favorite to win the NBA championship before this came out, this news came out, and now they add Anthony Davis. Are they the favorites in your mind to win the championship next year?
The Lakers?
Yeah.
No. Like, I think that the West, to me, because of the Warrior injuries, next year is going to be interesting because it could potentially be the first year we don't walk in thinking the Warriors are just going to walk away with the West. I think before we can answer that question, we got to wait to see what the Clippers do in free agency. The Lakers are going to be tough. The Rockets, are even if they don't make any trades, they're going to be back in the picture last year because they're such a good team still. Denver, they're young and you expect them to get better. I think that it's going to be a fun, like next year could be the most fun ride we have in the West. Partly because of Clay and KD injury, that's the bad part of it, but because there's not that looming of like the Warriors are going to win, we could have a fun race in the West.
Who is your favorite, though, to win the NBA title?
I would say one team that I would put above the Lakers is the Nuggets because I think that them with experience in the playoffs, if they make a move or two to kind of fine-tune some things, they're a team that beat my expectations. I thought they were going to get, like, not swept, but get upset in the first round by the Spurs. And they almost made a deep run in that playoff.
All right, here's the thing: I love the Nuggets, but you're talking about LeBron James, and you're also talking about Anthony Davis, who has more playoff experience than that whole Nuggets team, pretty much outside of Paul Millsap. So
it also depends on what the Lakers with LeBron and AD are not winning the title. I'll say that they need one more piece added in.
But whether that be adding more depth around them or a star, I still think that they're better than the Nuggets because they still have. I think at max they'll have like $32 million in cap space, which will be enough to add depth and or a star next to them. And I think it's just now swooning one of them, whether it be Jimmy Butler.
Clay's ACL got my back. He says I say no.
I saw that one too. Kyrie as well, or Jimmy Butler, whoever they do sign. Obviously that can help them, but I think even if you had depth, you're talking about two, in my opinion, I think two top 5 players in the NBA, and LeBron James, who is, I think, the best player in the world, and I think Anthony Davis, who was my pick to win MVP this year, before he decided he didn't want to play in New Orleans anymore. I thought that was going to be the rise to the top, but I think they pair so well together. And if you're adding a guy like a Kemba Walker who could shoot extremely well from the outside and be a playmaker when those two aren't working, and just provide some speed as well, I think that would be huge. If you add Jimmy Butler who can play lockdown defense, that'd be massive. And you still keep Kyle Kuzma who could be a great shooter from the outside. So that's going to be definitely something interesting. I would favor them the most out of the West. They might not be my favorite in the NBA because I think I might still lean towards Milwaukee if they're able to keep everybody. If they're able to keep Chris Midd, if they're able to bring back Brook Lopez, I think that team probably has to lead it just because that chemistry has already been instilled. Giannis is going to get older. He's going to get better. He's going to grow into his body a little bit more. And I think that it would probably be leaning towards my favorite because you can't say the Raptors, although they won, because you're not sure if Kawhi's going to be there. Can't say the Warriors, obviously, because of the injuries to KD and Clay. I think if we're saying favorites in the NBA, I would say Bucks. I think that'd be an easier bet, a safer bet. But if we're saying in the West, I have to lean towards LA.
But what about the Rockets is my question. This is a team that had been hunting the Warriors year over year over year and just not good enough. Just not good enough. Injuries at inconvenient times. The worst shooting streak we've ever seen from 3. Like, doesn't this line up for 2019, 2020 season to be like the year for the Rockets in the West? They've got the most playoff experienced guys on the team. They've got great leadership. And I know they just literally came out and were like, everyone's for sale.
That's the thing that I would say
it scares me. But at the same time, now that KD and Clay are out, like...
Everything's for sale, and I just don't know if, again, you bring up the fact about injuries. Like, I still think that's going to be a problem for them. Because if Chris Paul goes down, they're immediately taken down a little bit. And if you're asking me who am I taking, Clint Capella or James Harden against LeBron and AD, I think that one's pretty easy. I'm taking LeBron and AD. So
we'll see.
Obviously, it's going to have to depend on who they bring in, the Lakers.
That supporting cast is so key.
But it's going to. I still think that it doesn't have to be perfect for them to win. It could be decent, and they could still win. It just can't be horrible. It just can't be Rondo, Lance, JaVale, all those guys, Easy, all those guys they brought in. If they could build a decent supporting cast, I think that they need to be the favorites in the West. Let's talk about stars now. Who else can they add before we move to the Pelicans? Who else can they add? Who's if you had to rank the guys, give me a top 3 of free agents that the Lakers can bring in this free agency to really help this team. If we're looking at money wise, I think they're looking at either 28 if AD accepts his $5 million trade kicker, or it's 32 if he declines it.
Well, that's also the thing is when this trade actually goes official, because if it's, I believe, after
July 6th.
Yeah, is it going to be after July 6th? Was that confirmed?
Mark said the AD trade with Los Angeles cannot be completed until July 6th. The question now comes to how LA times the trade. LA can use cap space as a buffer first or wait 30 days and have salaries match up. Waiting would preserve cap flexibility to use $32.5 million.
I think that's super critical for them because that $32.5 million opens up a couple more doors. I think the one that they've already come out and we've already heard, I think, from Mark Stein was Kemba Walker being like, that's the guard we want to pair with these guys. And
but Kemba said he'd take less to stay in Charlotte.
When?
That was because it came across my phone that he told the Hornets that he would be okay with taking less than the
was that
Supermax.
is my thing.
It was this week I saw it.
Yeah. Well,
that he'd be happy with taking less than the Supermax to stay in Charlotte.
My thought is, as soon as Anthony Davis got added to that team, if I'm Kemba Walker, I'm also thinking I would take less than the max to go to another team.
Yeah.
You know?
June 13th, NBA.com, Kemba Walker says he's open to taking less than Supermax from Hornets.
Yeah, and so that's why I want to see rank the top three of guys that are out there that are available that they can sign that you think will sign with them. Not the guys that you think they should sign, but what are realistic options for them? I still think that Kemba will sign in Charlotte. We'll get to that obviously in my mock draft. But I think if we're looking at it, I think your number one goal has to be, and I know I don't care if this is unrealistic. Your number one goal has to be Kawhi Leonard. If he's gonna be a free agent, and if he wants to go to LA, if he's from that area, there's no reason you should not be going after Kawhi Leonard. Put him at the 3, play LeBron at the 4, and play AD at the 5. Just dominate the league. So that needs to be your number one option. And if you get them, NBA championship confirmed. I don't give a shit who you put next to him. You put Arcidiacono at that 1.
Nice.
I don't care.
Nice.
If we're going 2, I would need to look at a guy like Jimmy Butler. I think that his three-point shooting on the outside would be huge. He doesn't need to be the guy to be successful. He works his ass off. He doesn't care if he's scoring 12 points a night. He will just go out there and do what's needed for the team. I think that needs to be your next option. And then if not, if you can't get any of those players, I think that you need to have a guy who can play make a little bit. And I think if that is what's out there, I think that Kyrie needs to be option number 1, but I don't know if he wants to go there. So then Kemba comes in, and I think that he needs to be your third option because I'm iffy on Kyrie going. If you get Kyrie, there's no wrong way to you can't be mad if you get Kyrie. But if you're not able to get Kyrie, I would say Kemba. So I'd go Kawhi, Jimmy, and Kemba. If you're getting Kemba, that's good. If you're getting Kyrie, that's good. If you're getting any of those 4 players, you did a good job. But if you're missing out on them and you're not able to supplement that team with the right players around them, then this is not. It might be seen as a failure, but I think that'd be my power ranking at least.
I'm going to go a little bit different. And the reason why I'm taking Kawhi off is because here's how I see the top free agents.
Sure.
Durant's going to stay with the Warriors.
Yep.
I don't think Kawhi wants to play with the Lakers. If he's coming to LA, it's like, for me, it's Raptors or Clippers are the ones that are going to get Kawhi Leonard.
Right, but you're not even going to try?
No.
You're not going to try to woo the man?
No. You're going to try, but I'm saying I don't think it's going to happen, so I'm not putting him on my list and wasting my breath. The Nets are going to get Kyrie. Kemba stays with the Hornets. Clay with the Warriors. So to me, my list would be number 1, Jimmy gets buckets. The G stands for gets. That's number 1. Number 2, I would say I'm torn between either like a Chris Mid or a Tobias Harris because maybe that's 3. So I'm changing my power ranking. That would be 3, either a Chris Mid or a Tobias Harris. Number 2, I'm going to say, I know that people are going to say he didn't perform well in the playoffs. He was coming off an Achilles injury. I go after DeMarcus Cousins. Do you remember what DeMarcus and AD looked like together?
That's too big
with
of a
LeBron.
lineup.
Why not? Why not go? And I think
you need more of a playmaker.
I think it's going to be a little bit of a drop because I think all those top guys, like I said, KD, Clay, Kemba, Kyrie, Kawhi, they're going to have their minds made up to where the Lakers are going to look at that next tier and have to try to find who to get.
Shout out to these Knick fans that are popping off in the chat, especially the Sums Oliver. They're saying we're getting Kyrie and KD, fam. KD's Achilles also said KD's still going to New York. I hope for you guys it is.
I'm not ruling it out, but I'm going to lean towards the Warriors.
I'll rule that for you guys. Knick fans,
Justin
I'm sorry.
Bieber said never say never, Dave. So never say never.
I'm sorry. You went from getting Zion Williamson Then you're going to get KD. Then you're going to get Kyrie Irving. Then you're going to get Anthony Davis. And by the end of this, you're going to have none of them. I'm sorry. That's how it goes. You're a Knicks fan. You should be used to this.
So in Sean bet fashion, you going to make a bet? If they do get both, are you going to do
I'm already
anything?
buying an Eddie Curry jersey if KD goes to the Knicks.
I mean,
I think was it KD and Kyrie, or was it just KD?
I don't know. We'd have to go back to the tape.
I think
either
I'm fine
way
on either one.
is not happening. Good luck next year with Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Knox, and I love Mitch Rob, so I'm not gonna talk shit about him.
I mean,
But yeah,
at least they get
that's-
RJ.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
I mean,
right.
RJ's not bad.
So, you think it's possible that the Lakers with LeBron, AD, and then whoever they're able to bring in free agency, that this team is at least a top three favorite to win the finals?
As long as they can bring in, like you said, I think Kyrie Irving is huge. I agree. Kawhi is number one on everyone's boards, but after that, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, Kemba Walker. If they can land one of those three guys as a supplemental, they're by far the best team in the NBA. Like you said, you can stick G Leaguers out there with them. It doesn't matter at that point. You have so much talent.
Here's one thing that I'm going to throw out there, and this is I think we're going to do this in a different segment and how they should attack free agency.
Yeah.
Coming up later, probably next week, after the draft or before the draft, whatever. But I wonder if what you would have to do to build a budget squad. And I think if you're looking at that, let's say they don't go after a star. If they go for a point guard, I think it needs to be a guy who can play decent defense, and could shoot the three.
Ricky Rubio.
That's exactly who I've pulled up. I have it pulled up.
Show me
and I
all
was
the
like,
same person at
I was
times.
iffy on his
All the
3-point
time.
stats, but if
all the time.
LeBron's you're the guy dishing the ball, you're gonna hit some of those open threes. So Rubio's definitely one of them. Bring Reggie Bullock back at the 2, I think would be interesting, but he might be more of a bench player than an actual 2. I guess maybe Chris Mid at that 2, if you want that, and then maybe go after a big 5, possibly bringing back JaVale. But we'll do a budget squad later.
What if? And this is, I saw it in chat come across from someone else, but for a different team. What if the Lakers went back and were like, D'Lo, you want to come back to town, just for fun?
I thought
if they
about
whiff
it.
on Kyrie Irving and Kemba stays with the Hornets, then point guard of the future, do you think he's
Or
that?
do they try to throw money at, and I don't know if these guys clashed in New Orleans, but do they try to throw some money at Julius Randle, who's going to be looking for a payday
I think
this
Julius.
offseason?
I mean, that front
less
office
of a
is
fit.
completely new, pretty much,
Yeah.
and there's no beef with the coaching staff or anything.
No,
like
I'm
that.
saying I don't remember how Randall and AD, if they
no,
work
there
was
together.
nothing.
They were
Okay.
good, yeah.
But anyways, let's move now to the Pelicans team and what they're going to be able to do. People are really excited for the mock draft, so let's kind of wrap this up a little bit.
Yep.
Obviously, they got enough. They got enough value for it. 3 firsts. You get two potential superstars in Zoe and Ingram, and then you also get Josh Hart to go along with it. What's that starting lineup going to look like? All right. And also, do they trade the 4th? Let's start there. Do they trade the 4th pick? Do they keep that 4th, or do they look to move it?
Wait for my mock draft.
No, give me it now.
Yes, you trade the 4th.
Why do you trade it?
If I can get the Hawks, because the way I'm looking at it,
But what
the
do you
Hawks
what do you
really-
do? What do you, not specifically, but what are you looking for? What's the goal to trade that?
For me, I'm looking for more draft picks this
Why?
year. Because I want just draft capital. I'm going with the Sam Hinkie kind of mindset of
well, Hinkie's is all about future stuff.
Yeah, no,
And
I know.
it's
but
about tanking and
let me get more ping pong balls now than that 4, because the guy that the Lakers were going to go with was Darius Garland. You could go with Jarrett Culver. I look at the Hawks because give me 2 guys rather than that 1. Give me 8 and 10 where I can get 2 guys coming in rather than the 4.
I just want to clear up. That's not the
Yeah.
Hinkie method, though. You're not getting more ping pong balls.
I'm
You're
just
getting
saying,
more picks.
give me more picks. Give me more
So you want
shots
to
at
be
that
able to
board.
you want to be able to try to find a star and
Yeah.
have more shots at it, or are you trying to get 2 players to fill out the roster?
I think in this draft you can kind of do a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
Yeah, I think it's very draft specific because this year is, tier 1 Zion, tier 2 RJ and Ja, and then tier 3 is literally 15 picks deep. There's not a lot of separation between the 4th pick in this draft and the 15, 16, 17 guys. In our minds, I won't speak for everyone, but in the way that I have this chunked out for this year's draft, I don't think there's a whole lot of difference when it comes to the talent right now. Upside, floors, yes, there's differences between these guys and taking deeper risks, but a lot of them kind of grayed out in the same group where I would feel confident moving back and getting that volume ability. Because if you believe Zion, number 1 pick in this draft, is going to be your superstar, you've got Brandon Ingram, who was a good ball handler, able to go ISO, able to drive / score. And then Lonzo Ball, who you've got a great defensive point guard who can pass in the fast break, who can run the floor a little bit. I think that team is looking for two kind of supplemental guys who still could have upside, but also I would rather fill out that 5 and on that young contract scale be happier with younger guys like that instead of going for that one hit at 4, whether it is a Darius Garland or a Jarrett Culver or a Cam Reddish there. I think that the difference between those guys and that next, in the next couple of guys taken is not going to be that big. So I'm about volume and filling out that team.
And I want to throw out someone bringing up they should trade the 4th for Chris Paul. First off, I don't think Chris Paul would be happy going back to New Orleans. Like I wanted out badly to begin with. But at least with that, do you think what's more likely, them trading the 4 or them trading Lonzo?
Honestly,
Trading the 4.
probably trading the 4 right now. But there's a fair chance both could happen.
Why? What's the positive of trading both? I think we'll get more into this into your mock, but just keep it quick.
Depends on if they can get a stab at Darius Garland.
No, what's the positive of trading both?
Of trading
So you
both
trade 4
is
and
I
Lonzo.
trade 4 to get more capital, but then you can also trade Lonzo if you're able to move up. Like the way I see it is if they move back Hawks, and then let's say Garland falls because there's a chance he could fall to the Bulls at 7.
Again,
hey,
keep
Chicago,
it like what's
you
the
want
positive
Lonzo.
of trading both? No, I don't need a whole layout.
You get a point guard that fits better than Lonzo, and you get more picks. Like that's
So
the
you
bare
don't
bottom.
think
I like the
Lonzo-
fit of Lonzo though.
Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Drew Holiday is a good
but,
fit.
I mean, the thing that like you've even brought up, like, and I'll ask you, if you're the Pelicans, who would you rather have, Lonzo or Darius Garland?
Next to Drew Holiday, I would rather have Lonzo.
Okay, because like there are people like you've said, the shot from Lonzo, like love it, hate it, do what you want with it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a chance that Garland could fall, and the Pelicans go, hey, let's take the
here's
younger
the
guard over Lonzo.
Biggest thing that has me worried is just the fact of Ingram and Ball next to each other. Those two, those shooting abilities, lack of shooting abilities from them. But I mean, Brandon doesn't have the issues of the stroke that Lonzo has. But their lack of ability to hit from the outside worries me next to Zion. That's the biggest thing for me. But if we're just talking strictly those two guards next to each other, I think it's a perfect pair. You have shut down, lockdown defense, and you have a guy in Lonzo who I think you can kind of say is, in ways, at least, they're what you're just nailing down. Similar to Rondo. They both play great defense. They're not great shooters, and they are both excellent passers.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Now, obviously, different body types, different levels of abilities, different ages as well. But I think if you're looking at that, that's a perfect pair next to Drew Holiday. And I worry more about Ingram's fit in that 4 than I do about Lonzo's. And Zoe and Zion in transition is absolutely dirty.
It's
Zion's
disgusting.
one of the best, Zoe's one of the best transition passers in the league right now.
Yep.
And you have one of the best transition players and forces in Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I would not trade Lonzo at all. I would keep Lonzo. Lonzo's a guy I would look to keep. I'm not saying trade Ingram, though, because I also love him. And if you can shoot from the outside, man, that's a nasty 4. But I think the 4th is definitely the one that's going to be traded over all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Someone's bringing up the blood clots of Ingram as well. And a crossover, Schnook-Kush, I don't know what it is, said Ingram 4th and a future first for Beal. I just don't think they're trading Beal.
Crossovers and Kush.
Oh, crossovers and Kush. I'm stupid. But yeah, I think that this is a great trade for New Orleans, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about their future later on. But we all agree that it's a great trade?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I like it all around. The Pelicans get draft picks and futures with it. Exactly what they want. If they weren't going to get their all-star, they wanted multiple picks. They got it. The Lakers get AD. Like, that's all they need.
It's a win-win, and Griffin comes out looking like the
Like
prophet.
roses.
Like he comes to town and he delivers.
That's the thing is it's not a loss for the Lakers. It's just an absolute win for the Pelicans.
Yep.
And it could be a win for the Lakers. It could be a big win for them if they win a finals with LeBron and AD. But if they're not able to win a finals with it, and those picks come back to bite them, then we could be looking at this as a fuck up in ways. But right now, I think it's a win-win scenario with David Griffin coming out looking great. But let's move in to the main event. Mock Draft 7.0. Full 2 rounds with trades. It's going to go crazy. Should we take time to answer some questions?
Yeah.
Sure.
All
Take
right,
some
let's
time
answer
to
some questions. Throw out some questions if you guys have any. Lonzo in the 4 for Levine. Ricky, thoughts?
Lonzo and the 4 for Levine?
Yes.
No, I need a little bit more for Levine.
Really?
I
I mean,
that's about right, Bob.
But I'm
Value-wise?
also
It's Lonzo and Culver for Levine.
But I am also on the side of like, there's a part of me that I like Zach, so I want Zach to be here. I want Zach to be the guy when we get the ship. So my heart is speaking a little bit.
Sums Oliver, our Nick
Dave.
fan in the chat, saying the Lakers will break up the max slot to add depth. What do you think?
There's a good
What's
chance
more
if they
important, the
don't.
depth or the star?
Right now, I would say star because every star is available. But if they whiff on that opening round of free agents and Jimmy stays home, Kawhi stays home, and Kemba stays home, then like go for depth guys. Like, I think there's literally 3 guys you go for, and if you don't hit on those, then you go depth. 100%.
I don't know where people come from, but huge NBA fans, Lakers should sign Ron Baker.
Yeah,
Ron Baker to the Lakers.
Ron Baker shot maker.
Oh man, that's amazing. Whoever signs Pat McCaw is winning this year.
Yep.
True. That should be the
The
priority.
Bulls. That's what the Bulls need to do is sign Pat McCaw. There's no way we lose the title.
All right,
then.
Spurs to trade DeMar if they don't want to extend him. Yes or no? Does it happen?
Yeah, I feel like with the amount of chatter that I've been seeing online and like with the NBA experts about him being traded, I think it's a good way to say, hey, we don't necessarily want to pay you this contract and move on from him because the Spurs, I mean, a first round exit. What else does much change if they get rid of him?
He gets to go home to LA. I don't know what the Lakers have left, or the Clippers though. Clippers got some space; they can make deals. Could be interesting,
Could you imagine Kawhi and DeMar on the same team?
right?
They were involved in the trade. Now they're playing together.
I'm gonna avoid some draft questions just because we're gonna answer most of those. DeRozan for the 4th, absolutely not. Could the Lakers get Brogdon?
I don't see the Bucks not matching Brogdon. Okay. I think they're going to match Milton and Brogdon.
Depends on how much.
They're going to go into they're going over. They won 60 games. Like they've got Giannis. They can tie up those 2 guys. They've already got Bledsoe under contract. I don't see them going away from that group of guys.
The thing, and I'm going to throw the draft out there in this. The thing with Brogdon that becomes iffy is they could take a guy like Ty Jerome with that last pick of the first round, which I'm okay with letting Brogdon go if the price ain't right, and then trying to snag a guy like Ty Jerome with the last pick.
40, 90. You're not going to get that out of Ty Jerome.
Oh, I'm not saying I will, but for them, it's like you mentioned with the segment you brought up from our past about the Kawhi DeMar trade, it's a business. And if the money ain't right, the money ain't right.
Yeah.
All right. Final one is going to be from, where's it at? Buffalo Soldier. He says Kawhi and Kyrie together. Is it possible, and if so, where?
Brooklyn.
The only place
Brooklyn or New York, but most likely Brooklyn because that's where Kyrie wants to play.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I think they've got different locations in mind.
Mm-hmm. I think Kawhi's either going L.A. Clippers or Toronto, and I don't think either place interests Kyrie, and I don't think Toronto can't even sign Kyrie.
Sign and trade. Get Lowry out? No, they would never.
Here's one final one because this is a good one from Lampard, and this is a question that keeps being brought up. Yeah. Do the Nets renounce or sign and trade D'Lo? My thoughts is I don't think they're getting Kyrie, so I think they sign him and keep him.
It's tough for me because I really love D'Lo. I would probably go on the safe side and say sign and trade. It depends on the value though, because like if you don't, I think there's at least 3 teams between the Pacers, the Timberwolves, and the Suns who would offer him a shit ton of money. So unless you think you're going to get something back and that'll work out for you, I don't know. That's a tough one. I think you might just have to let him go if you think that you're locked in on Kyrie plus, you know?
Mm-hmm. Ricky, thoughts on D'Lo?
What's happening with him? I honestly think the wild card I'm kind of hoping for is that because there's rumors that he's going to meet with the Minnesota T-Wolves. I think that'd be cool, having him in Minnesota with Wiggins and Cat being their point guard or being their main guard out there. How would they
afford him?
What?
How would they afford him?
Throw as much money as they can at him?
Oh, like Minnesota?
Yeah.
That Minnesota. One's, I think that's a sign and trade. You either have to move Teague out of town or Gorgie Dieng.
Gotcha. I don't know why the Nets would want either.
I think it would be a 3-team deal, to be honest, because you're going to have to basically have somebody eat.
Unless the Wolves want to give up draft capital.
Oh, you would have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely would have to get someone like D'Lo.
Yeah, I don't think D'Lo's moving.
It's just a complicated move.
This is why, again, like I can't wait for the Kyrie stuff to be done and over with, too.
You just don't like the rumors and the speculations.
Well, I don't like things that, like, to me, that wouldn't make sense for the Nets. Mm-hmm. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You have Kyrie who I mean, Kyrie's a better player, don't get me wrong, without a doubt. But D'Lo is younger. D'Lo showed that he's an all-star. D'Lo showed that he works on this team. Why are you blowing arguably more money on that for a guy who also has more injury problems? Kyrie has more injury problems than D'Lo. D'Lo has had some injury problems, but
Kyrie's injury prone at this point in his career. Like, he's been injured since high school.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You're
It's
100% right.
It's like, what's the big push? Like, does that make you an NBA champion? No. Like,
the question
I think stick
is,
with D'Lo. Like, stick with that. I like homegrown talent, and I think that he's kind of homegrown in Brooklyn's sense because I know he was drafted by the Lakers, but he really became his own player in Brooklyn.
Right.
I feel like that would just be the smart thing, is just to keep him in.
There's definitely some questions in Brooklyn about his fit next to Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert. He notably popped off after Karis went down and choked horribly when they were in the playoffs. Karis stepped up, thankfully, but like, he did not play great off ball with them, and you wonder if Kyrie Irving can do better than that. I wouldn't take it. I don't know if that gamble is worth it in my mind, but yeah, that's for them to decide on if he can be an off ball guy or if he really just can't work in the same system as Karis and Spence.
Yeah, I mean, it's saying it's highly unlikely they retain him if Kyrie signs. I don't know if Kyrie's signing. I don't know where Kyrie's going, though, because I think Boston's not off the table.
I think Brooklyn.
New York's obviously out there, but, I mean, if he's not getting another star, would he go there? Brooklyn, obviously, is a team that's out there. L.A. now with the AD signing. I mean, I think they put themselves in a very nice spot to get him.